Alright, so we finally got the new Crystron support, and that is what I believe to be one of, if not the best way to play Crystron in my opinion, because even though it's a pure version, you do have everything you need, and I don't really think you necessarily need more small engines. Let's explain everything and see how it works. Basically, we have a bunch of the new support that is gonna help us do a lot of cool things now. First of all, we have the Tristaros, which is now a tuner that allows you to space summon a monster from deck and synchro summon, which is the best thing you can do, because usually you would go either from graveyard or the banish zone or the hand, which are not gonna be that good because they're a little bit more difficult to set up. Other than that, we do have the new Sulfador, which is essentially gonna allow us to go for Xyz 5 plays, by the way, using the Sulfafnir to go for something like Nova Infinity, which is actually a really fun combo. And on top of that, we get to special summon and go for a bunch of mills, and usually the two targets that we're gonna mill are gonna be the Smyger and the Twist one. Essentially, this allows you to banish and search a spell or a trap. This allows you to search a monster, so either one is really good. We are also playing the new Inclusion. This card, by the way, really good because it's a searcher. It also brings back a monster from the graveyard, and it also gives a little bit of a protection, but oftentimes you do tend to use it to get a search, and you just send it to the graveyard with Sulfafnir to get the additional effect as well. Other than that, we have basically the old ones, which are allowing us to get searches, and we also play the one C3, which is the second best tuner, and we do need this to go for something like the Quarion Gandax, which is usually not easily accessible in any other list before the new support came out, so that's very cool. And we also play the one Prasio Turtle, which is not necessary, but essentially this is the only way to access Synchro 4 because this is the only level 2 monster, and you summon the Quandax, which can then go into something like the Phoenix, which is actually the only way to access it because you need the Synchro tuner, so that's very cool as well. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of it. Foolish Burial is also a nice card. Any other Crystron card is unnecessary. Also, we do have the new trap card, the Cluster. This card is just very good because it allows you to get additional removal, which is the first good trap card for Crystron. On top of that, we just have a bunch of non-engine. I really do like to play the Speedroid engine because that can go into the Cherubini. Cherubini can then send to the graveyard something like the Twistfor or the Smyger, and Smyger can then get a search for the Inclusion, which can go for Sulfador and all that. It's just really good. And also we're playing Droplet, which is another great card to just send to the graveyard all of these cards that are gonna be useful in the graveyard to banish, and that's gonna be very good. We basically have Maxi, Imperm, Coldbuy, Ash Blossom, and the Ghost Ogre. Of course, you can play whatever you want. You can also include a small engine, but it's not necessary. Now for the extra deck, we basically have every good machine monster. We have the Quandax, we also have the one Phoenix, the one Quangi, whatever the name of this card is, I can't pronounce it. And we also play the 2 copies of the Esqueletos, and that basically is what we go through every time we combo off. Now also we do have 2 copies of Down Dragster, and this is really annoying me, but we do need the second one. I know people don't want to craft the second one because this is the only card that you're gonna use as a one-up in any other deck, but you do need it because it often comes up and you just don't have a better level 7 target. So yeah, Samurai is just a good level 7 monster you can utilize, but it's gonna come up very rarely, as I said. Also we have the Chambara, which is good for OTK, and it's the only good level 5 machine. So yeah, you just have to play a level 5 target, and I decided to play this one. And you also have the level 9 Navy Dragon Mech, which is essentially gonna be a card that you can summon during your opponent's turn and negate some things. And we have, as I said, the Infinity and the Nova. Now we also play Cherubini for the Speedroids, and we have the SP just in case. And finally we play the one Clockwork Knight, which is essentially gonna be Almirage, which is really good because it allows us to just link off a monster like Smigger, which is gonna be very nice to send it to the graveyard, and this is why we play it. Let's just play some Yu-Gi-Oh! Okay, so I know there's only one line here that can possibly work. We're gonna go Sulfafnir, pitch the Tristaros. Also, you could technically just normal summon Tristaros, but I'm gonna try to go for some combos and we'll see how it goes. Now activate the Sulfafnir, specimen from the deck the Sulfador, with the main purpose of it to activate the effect and move to the graveyard 2 cards. So now we're gonna send to the graveyard the Smigger and also the Twistform, which are gonna be a spell search and a basically monster search. And we're gonna go for the, of course, Inclusion, which is by far one of the best cards this deck has. Now we're gonna go Twistfor and we're gonna get a monster search. Here I'm not particularly excited about anything, but I am intrigued in maybe going for Tristaros just to normal summon it. That could be okay because we already have everything else we need. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go Tristaros. In case they also use like a hand trap, it would be nice. Let's activate now the Inclusion as well. This is also not a bad card to utilize, and we're gonna be going for a maybe the trap card because I don't have access to the trap card, and this is a way to get it. So that's cool. Now we're gonna use 2 of our monsters. We're we're gonna go into the level 7. Usually there's a better way to do it, but I think this is kind of the most safe way to do it, because of course we can also get Nibiru at some point, and I kind of want to get at least the trap card and some other things, so that's also nice for that. And now we're gonna be going for the Smeagol back to the hand here, so I can utilize it as well again. Now we're gonna be using the effect of course the Tristaros, which will allow us to pop the Synchro and let us special summon a bunch of monsters. Now we're gonna get to the field. We need one level 5, and I'm gonna go for also C3, or yeah, C3 works. I mean, it's fine. Let's summon this. Okay, let's summon also the C3. From here, I'm gonna activate the Eleskeletus, bring back the Tristaros in the banish zone, which is another way to synchro. And now we're also gonna finally activate the Sulfador, and we're gonna be basically setting to the graveyard the inclusion to space summon it back to the field. This will also go into Infinity, which is the final play. If we were to have a little bit of a better hand, we can prioritize more things than that, but this is gonna be Infinity. C3 that can go for level 7, which is down Dragster, and then we can also utilize down Dragster to go for more plays. Or we could also even prioritize going for just level 5 and summoning the Quarion Gandrax, which is also nice. And we also get this to bring back a monster to the field. And I'm actually gonna do that because sometimes it is actually pretty nice to have access to another copy of a tuner, because now what we can do is we can utilize the C3 plus the Tristaros to go for level 9, and then we can use Tristaros by itself to go for level 7. Alright, that's the main idea. Now we're gonna set 3 back row and pass turn, and this is, ladies and gentlemen, one of the best boards we can build with a pretty garbage hand, which is surprising. Alright, so this is the Golem, that's fine. Bro, look at this looks amazing, by the way. I'm actually gonna start with the Tristaros here just to go for down Dragster. And as I said, by the way, one thing to note, Tristaros needs a monster to activate its effects in order to actually use its effects. However, the other tuners can be used without your opponent activating anything, and that's why I also get confused 10,000 times for that, by the way. But anyways, now we have down Dragster, which could be used to negate the Golem. I would say that this wouldn't be the terrible thing to do. I mean, let's do it. I guess it makes sense to do it because this way he's not gonna get access to any of the Millennium cards, so I think it's a good card to get rid of, right? That's gonna be one engine less. Alright, he does have the Weiju Tempo as well though, which is completely fine. I'm gonna wait until he sets the monster, then I'm gonna interrupt it. Setting 1 and also setting the Sang Engine. And now I'm gonna chain my C3 here, and I'm gonna go for the level 9 synchro play, which is gonna be, for example, either Navy Dragon Mech or the Quarion Gandrax. I'm gonna go for the Quarion, as I said, because it is a removal and it's better. And this way I will get rid of both of these cards here, which is very good. Wait, what? Why can't I access level 9? Oh yeah, dude, the C3 requires me to use only the monster I summon and itself. Oh my god, I forgot about that. C3 requires you to use only these 2 monsters to synchro summon, while the Tristaros doesn't. So now I'm gonna change the line of play, I guess, and I'm gonna do something else. So I am just really tilted now because of that, but I still have more plays. Let's go Chain Link 1, use this, and now I'm gonna go Chain Link 2, use the cluster here, and I'm gonna target the these 2 guys right here basically and destroy them, which is still gonna do what I wanted to do, but instead of prioritizing the extra interruption, I'm gonna go for a follow-up. That's kind of the only difference here, and I'm gonna basically add back the inclusion here, which is very good. And I'm also gonna utilize this card to basically return to the hand the Tristaros is better because we already have everything we need set up in the grave. So far so good. We have Code by Imperm and also the Infinity, which is nice. I am not gonna use Infinity for that because I can just Code by the Luri, and that's still good enough. And this is, by the way, almost picture perfect solution to every problem here, except for the one fact that I should have went for the Quandrion Gandrax, but doesn't matter. This is what the deck can do, and yeah, this hand can get me to pretty much everything I need. And now we're gonna get access to a nice little search here. Alright, we're gonna grab the Take Tomborg, which is a good way to get access to Cherubini, and I'm gonna prioritize that as my very first play. Of course, Maxi again, but this time we actually have a solution for it, which is very good, thank god. Alright, now we can freely play the game at the very least. And I'm gonna pass turn here, of course. You can get it a little bit better with the second tuner or with like a level 5 on the field or like any monster. This can essentially allow you to pivot into a different line, but it doesn't really matter too much, so yeah. Now I'm gonna first of all activate the C3 here. You know what? I'm not gonna use anything. I'm actually not gonna use anything for the Engraver. I'm gonna wait until he goes for more plays than that. Activating now the Tract, and at this point I can stop it as well. The thing is, I do need to use Infinity fairly early in order to chain C3 Infinity and go for down Draxler because currently I have no level 5. So I am gonna go Infinity. I don't love this play by all means, by the way. I do need to use C3 as well now, and that will give me finally the level 7 down Draxler. And after we utilize it, it goes down to level 5, and we can also go Tristaros for level 4, and we can get to level 9 Phoenix. And of course, they are gonna have the code by the grave. Lovely. It's 1 for 1, so technically it's not that big of a loss, but you know, now I feel like I've wasted my Infinity effect a little bit, but all in all, I still think it's not that big of a problem. Summoning Diabellstar by pitching the Flame Burst, that's fine. I'm just gonna imperm the Diabellstar. I don't care about it too much, but I'm actually thinking about using my Tristaros beforehand because he can proceed to the battle phase and force out my Tristaros, then normal summon something else. So I am gonna chain it, even though I don't particularly love it. Basically, we're gonna go for the Quarion Gandrax because we can deal with whatever he sets. All right, summoning it with the beautiful animation here, and now whatever he sets, he loses, and he loses the Diabellstar as well. And in the graveyard, he doesn't have anything else, so that should be enough to get game without even committing my imperm, which is just incredible. So let's just target this. Actually, no, this banishes only monsters, pardon me, but that still doesn't matter because he's not gonna have target for the original, and it's still game. And yeah, whatever, dude. We just won this, and this deck is just incredible. I just love it. That was amazing.